Whenever, whatever I do. Welcome back to the Authentic Man, aka Godson Ken. Here to do another quick review and recap. I saw a post in, I'm gonna go ahead and bring it up real quick. Saw a post in the Lapeef group where Kay spoke on basically she left the panel early last night, and I haven't actually watched the Lapeef show in a minute. I've actually been watching more of Tommy Sotomayor's content and Fresh and Fist content, just because honestly it's just way more entertaining to me. So I have been able to watch some of the Lapeef Network shows, and then also those shows, man, they be lasting too damn long. They be lasting like 4 or 5 hours, man. I don't have 4 or 5 hours to be able to go through all of that. So and that's just how they do their stuff. That's how they've always done their stuff. But for me, that's just too long of a format to really just sit down and watch. It's great to be able to clip up. You'll get a whole bunch of clips from the stuff. But to sit down there and just watch it from beginning to end, I ain't got time. And I'm one to where I like to hear different perspectives and everything like that from different people. And once I've heard the panel enough, I start to get a sense of where they're coming from and what their perspectives are on certain issues. And so it's like I don't necessarily want to hear that again. It just becomes an echo chamber. It becomes very repetitive and redundant to me, and that's just not what sits well with me. But anyway, though, I saw this post, so we're gonna go ahead and review it real quick with y'all, and then we're gonna go and look at the clip of said post. So let me make sure I close out all this stuff. My PC is being real wonky and slow for some reason. It is what it is, though. Alright, so let's go ahead and transition this over real quick. So, as y'all see, Kay made a post about 2 hours ago that says special education jokes are never funny, ever. Our boys are over-identified to be in special education. This has so many social and emotional ramifications. Kids suffer being made fun of at school and the general stigma of being a diverse learner. Then to see adults laughing and making fun of disgusts me. So that's why I had to hop off the show early last night. Didn't want to risk saying something I'd regret. Call me sensitive, emotional, soft, whatever. But you go try being in the education field over a decade and seeing firsthand how kids, especially black kids, especially black boys, are labeled and stigmatized and the results of it. And see if you don't feel a way about it. I'd question your humanity. Right? And then basically Q said, she was on the panel last night as well. Oh my God, nobody was laughing at the special education part. You're taking it to the far extreme now. Shake my head. If you would have stayed on the panel that was said out on the chat, but you got it. And then I just wanted to clip, but I just went and looked up last night's show, and basically all I do was I just scroll through and see, okay, it's Kay here, and then I see, oh, she's popped off there, so I'm going to presume that it happened sometime there. Also, I wanted to go over the actual discussion that was had, so I was listening to the discussion for about maybe 10 or 15 seconds, or 15 to 20 seconds before that. Basically, Kay was asking, it sounds like they were having a discussion talking about would Kay date somebody of a certain economical status or not, and she basically gave an answer. But I want to actually chime in on this as well, because I think this can be a very good, this could be a very good learning opportunity. So yeah, let's go ahead and get straight up into it. Let's.
That they always try to do about me. And
Okay, she didn't say yes, but that is exactly what.
See what I'm saying? You putting words.
Give us a quick yes or no.
this for months. If y'all don't want to accept it,
It's K.
What would
The answers. Hey,
one
let
plus
her be.
one.
Let her
You would
be.
go
Me and
on to
she'll
a
just
whole
talk.
summary before answering the question. Like it's either like a
No,
quick
no,
yes
no,
or
no,
no.
no. She
Nah,
was
let her
I
go.
literally answered the question and then
on a whole summary and then wouldn't answer the question.
Listen, she's choosing to answer, so let her go. You know what
Yo,
I'm saying?
okay,
Let
let's
her get an
do the first
answer.
one.
Can I?
Well, it
Go ahead,
depends.
Kay.
Who wrote
Please.
the first one and who wrote the second one? Was it two people that brought two pencils to the table and then started to have the conversation, or did they write it with a pen? And can they erase it? And you'd be like, yo, well, what's 1 plus 1?
Anton, now she can't answer, bro. Let her
Now,
answer.
now we're not gonna get the answer.
See
I
that?
gave
Lord
the answer.
mercy.
It depends.
Miss K, could you let me know that answer, please? Would you marry a dude that you was making double that he made?
again, it depends on the person. It's not about what they make. I already said this. I said it earlier. I said that the most important thing about a person is not their salary. I have been saying this for months. If y'all don't want to accept it, that's
No, I
cool.
accept. I
Yes.
wasn't there.
That's my
so I didn't
answer.
know. So I was.
Yeah, I don't remember you saying that, but her answer is yes. Okay, so there's
I
two
don't
women that
accept
said yes.
it because you're supposed to answer the question and then give the context.
I accept her answer. I think you answered it. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
because
I'm a
your
teacher,
name is
so I can
humble.
read between lines. Like,
All right, so I'm gonna pause it there real quick, and this is, I think, is a good lesson for people. Look, if you ask a question of someone and they give you an answer, it is not on the person that's giving you the answer of whether you accept their answer or not. They gave you an answer. It should be either you accept the answer or don't accept the answer, but regardless, move on to the next question, especially if they've answered the question several times in the same way. You're trying to basically falsify how they believe because you don't believe that way. But your belief system and their belief system not necessarily aligning up isn't on her. If she's not challenging your belief system, but you're challenging her belief system, and so you then want to reject the answer, that's on you as the individual rejecting the answer. That's not on the individual giving you an answer to a question. Again, if they've given you an answer to a question, it gets very, very annoying for them to answer the question repeatedly in the same way because you're steady looking for a different answer. And because they don't give you a different answer, you keep asking the question. This is kind of like, and that's why I said earlier, I've been kind of watching the whole Tommy Sotomayor and Shay thing that went on at the Fresh and Fit, and this is kind of what led into that whole debacle there, is to where she kept asking the same question in different ways, and he kept giving her the same answer of he doesn't care, he doesn't care, he doesn't care, he doesn't care. And it's like, okay, at some point this is just getting stupid because you keep asking the same question when the question has been answered several times over and over. This is where I could see why Kay would start getting frustrated, because she's answering the same question over and over. And if she's answered the same question several times, just accept the answer for what it is. Or if you don't want to accept the answer, reject the answer, but just move on to a different question or a different subject, because obviously she's kind of over that question. All right, let's get back into it.
That's why you accept the answer, is
I
because
think
you
Taylor
too
was
no,
humble.
I accept it because I know what she's saying. Like, you know what I mean? I ask the
No,
question.
fam, don't translate for her. Let her stand on her own 2
I'm not
feet.
translating, bro. Like, I understand what she's saying.
She's
I don't
saying
know.
yes in a hidden way.
She
It's-
said yes.
Yeah.
Hey, question,
But
Kay.
no, she
Question.
didn't say yes. That's not the word that she never said. That word
she
yes.
didn't say
One
yes.
time.
Okay,
did
she
not
didn't say yes,
Just
but
say yes
that is
or no,
exactly
Kay.
what.
See what I'm saying? You putting words
Give
in
us
my
a quick yes or no, please.
Yeah.
Let me ask this. So if I
And again, the panel saying that they want a yes or no, they're trying to get her to answer in a way that's digestible for them. But if she gives an answer, just accept her answer for how she gave it. Just accept her answer for how she gave it. The way in which they're framing the question, I get why they might want a yes or no, but the way in which they frame the question isn't necessarily Yet it doesn't necessarily elicit just a straight yes or no response. A yes or no response would be something that be like, did you walk down the street? Now, again, I can get where they might say, well, if she was to say, well, it depends on what you consider walking. And then at that point, I can see where there might be some type of contention with saying that. But obviously, whether they walked or they ran down the street wouldn't necessarily be imperative to the question. It would just be, it would elicit a yes or no response. Did you move down the street, regardless of whether you walked, ran, navigated, jogged, whatever? Did you move from this point to this point down the street? And again, this is just a contextualized question. It's the hypothetical question, right? It would elicit a yes or no response. You can say, yes, I walked down the street or ran down the street or whatever. But in this case, again, I get what Kay is saying here. But for them to just say, well, yes or no, and she steadily give you an answer, again, just accept the answer that she gave and move on to the next question.
I asked the question and I understand what her answer is. Why does it matter if you understand?
Because you translated it completely different.
They want to pay
I literally said I understood. I don't understand why.
You're objective here. They're trying to paint this narrative that they always try to do about me, and that's why.
Well, sometimes you don't answer the question.
Humble
that is a true statement, but like I understood what you said.
Wait a minute.
You asked me I was the one that asked.
You asked me a question. I'm gonna answer it. She didn't want to talk. Not you want to give all of this context. We don't accept your answer in this conversation, Kay. So, humble dad. Let me tell you why it's so important.
You don't have to. He did. He asked.
Thank you, ma'am. So, humble dad. The reason why we don't accept it is because you're enabling bad behavior. See, you don't have to deal with it next Thursday, possibly. We gonna have to suffer through this. We don't want to be continuing to suffer through this, boss. So when you enable bad behavior and you say, well, I get it, it empowers these women to continue to exhibit and make life difficult for us.
It's literally y'all's platform.
Look at her. She don't know how to stop. You see what you did, humble dad? You put a battery in her back.
No, bro. You did that. Like if you would have just let me, like I was okay with her answer. Like if it was a yes or no,
because you know what?
Yes or no.
She's an educator, which means that she knows how to say yes. She chose not to say yes, and then she let you put a battery in her back, and then you said no. She said yes. No, she never said it one time. Not one time.
Yeah, that's a fact. Literally, she did not say yes.
I know.
But I understood her answer to be yes. And I am a teacher. You know what I'm saying? So I understand.
Well, then you know that her ability to communicate is lacking.
Did you understand what she meant?
No, I don't.
You did not understand what she meant.
No. It's not about what you meant, and this is the conversation.
That's my question to you, though.
Hold on. This is the conversation that we had earlier.
All right.
We should not have to be mind readers. Say what you mean and mean what you say, and we should not have to translate and say, well, she must have meant this. No, if it's a yes, then you say yes. Normal people answer the question directly and then they give the context.
The reason why Kay is not saying an outright yes is because it's literally dependent on different situations. I get why they might want to hear an outright yes, but to her, the question is sort of a fallacy because she doesn't place a high placeholder on somebody making double salary. Because let's just say if she says an outright yes, right? Then that might, from how she might perceive that, you can almost say that, well, because this guy has shitty characteristics, but he makes double her salary, then that automatically qualifies him to be able to date Kay. And what she is saying is that just because he makes double the salary, that doesn't necessarily qualify her to date him. At the same time, what she's saying is that just because somebody might not make double her salary, that doesn't disqualify them to date her. That's why she is saying it depends. She's basically asking for another qualifier before she is just going to give an outright yes, because in her belief system and her preferences and how she dates, she doesn't put a high pecking order on whether somebody does or doesn't make double her salary. That's why she answered the question and the way that she answered it. And as an educator, she's probably more versed in having these type of conversations and everything like that, and being able to convey information to where it's palatable. So why not just be real for a second and say you understand what she means? Because if she can get children, and I don't know what the demographic is that she educates, but I'm going to presume that it's not post-secondary, so I'm going to presume that it's from 12th grade and under. So at this point, they're either very young adults or, children to, middle-aged teenagers. Either way, that these are people that she can make it palatable for these people to understand what she means, then as an adult, she is going to have a certain level of expectation that you understand what she means. And if you've presented yourself in a certain fashion that you're this intellectual person and that you can do this, then by default, she is going to have some level of respect that you understand what she means. So that's why she says, she's basically just cutting through the BS and trying to get to exactly what you're trying to. She's basically cutting through the BS. That's basically what it is. And I get why and how Kay is moving throughout this conversation.
They don't leave it up to somebody else to translate, which is one of the reasons why you said that she said yes. Now, in the court of law, Yo ain't going to jail because she never said yes.
But it's not court. But I got you. But I'm...
No, Anton. In the court of law, and I actually just gave a previous example, but let's say that we're using this exact answer. And in the court of law, they say, do you date men of a certain status? Do you date men who, will you date men? Or what's the question that they asked? I want to say it was, do you date men, or will you date a man who makes double your salary? If she says depends, the court of law would literally allow her to explain exactly what she means and why she says it depends. The prosecutor, let's say if she's in the defense, the prosecutor might be looking for a yes or no, but her defense attorney will be able to most likely say objection and be trying to say that they're trying to lead the witness or lead the defense into an answer. This is where that whole legalese stuff comes in. Just because you ask for a yes or no, just because you ask a yes or no question or a presumed yes or no question doesn't mean that the defense has to answer in the way that you asked it. So when it comes to the court of law, it's all about that give the gab and understanding what's going on in the situation. And the way that she answered that, she never said yes or no. You said yes or no. She actually would kind of have you in a trap right now, because she would be able to say, well, in this case, this prosecutor is trying to elicit an answer for me that he already made for in his head. And as a defense attorney, they could actually use that frame against you, because now you're making an assumption about what she said, even though she didn't say it. This is how people be losing these legal battles and stuff like that. But I'm not no lawyer or anything like that. I ain't passed the bar yet. I probably should go pursue that. Anyway, let's get back to it.
I'm saying, like me, I don't always agree with Kate, but I always understand what she's saying, right? But I understood what she's saying.
Humble Dad, what do you disagree with most that I've said?
You gonna roll next Thursday for us, Humble Dad?
I mean, you say what? Yeah, two people asked me questions, man. Like,
you gonna ruin next Thursday for us, Humble Dad, by continuing to give her out?
Humble Dad, what do you disagree with?
I don't always give her out. When I first was on like a show before, I didn't give her no out. You don't remember? Like we got into it. I didn't give her no out.
I got a question, Kay. I got a separate question for you.
Oh,
and I was gonna answer the question.
Another question.
Y'all go on a tangent.
Yeah, well, stop asking Kay questions.
Hold on, y'all. Go ahead, Trill.
Okay, I want to raise my hand like we in the classroom. I know y'all educated. So my question is this: on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is money to you in terms of the man you choose?
It's not that important.
On a scale of 1 to 10, ma'am, just pick a number.
It's not that important. I think that if I had to pick a number, I don't know. I don't. I mean, I think that I look at people holistically. I just can't. I mean, like I said, y'all have every option to not answer or give context or whatever you want to do for any question that I ever ask or any.
Now, here's where I get some pushback against Kay. If they're giving you multiple opportunities to answer a question, so if they say on a scale of 1 to 10, just pick a number. If they're asking you in this frame of reference, now it would seem like you're being a little bit disingenuous. So in that vein, I can understand where they're coming from. It seems like you're being disingenuous. It seems like you're not trying to answer any question in a genuine way. If I say from a scale of 1 to 10, where do you place the importance? If you don't place any importance on money, you would just say 1, least. Or if you place a high preference on it, you would say 10. Just say that. But to give a very ambiguous answer to where it's just left up to interpretation, now you're placing a frame around yourself that you don't like to give direct answers for questions that are asked directly. And in that sense, I can see where a crowd of people may get a little frustrated. That's just my perspective of stuff.
Anyone asks, but I think that
that was a good one, sure.
It's just different depending on the person.
I tried.
What's going on. I mean, like I said, I think earlier, in my experience, if someone can't take care of themselves, they often project a certain thing, you know? So I don't know. I don't know if that's the money aspect or if that's the person aspect. I don't know.
What do you teach, Kay?
All the
special education.
So
why is that funny?
Listen, I taught special ed, bro. Listen,
why is that funny?
Great teachers that are needed. I'm asking because it sounds like you grade on the rubric.
Why is special education funny?
I wasn't laughing.
I mean, people were laughing like as if.
I have the right not to answer that question.
Okay. Humble Dad, I teach elementary school, so all the subjects.
All right. Do you grade on a rubric?
For some things, you know. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Nothing wrong. That's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
See what you're doing, Humble Dad? You enabling me.
I just don't see how.
No, I'm not.
No,
I understand how she be answering, why she answered how she answered.
Oh my God, I can't believe you simping right now, Humble Dad.
Bro, why I gotta be a simp? Because I understand.
I didn't tell you was a simp. I said you simping.
No.
Not the simping shit. Not the simping stuff. Oh my gosh. First of all, I need to ask this to the greater manosphere. And I keep asking this question, and like I said, I never really did get a direct answer, which is crazy because that's what usually is the issue with women, is that they're not direct. What is a simp? Or what is simping? What is simping? Is simping simply agreeing with a woman when she makes a valid point? If that's simping, then that's a very terrible definition of simping from my perspective. Him agreeing with Kay automatically makes him a simp because you, Anton, disagree with Kay. So if somebody, to me that doesn't make any sense. Does that make you a simp for agreeing with your wife when another man disagrees with your wife? Does that make you a simp? Or does that mean you're simping? Like that, to me, that doesn't make any sense. To me, that's a very terrible thing. 2, I can see why Kay would get upset here, because that remark about the whole special ed really wasn't needed. It was like a way of, it's almost like using the F word when referring to a select group of people, because you don't think that those select group of people are humans or deserve to be treated like humans or anything like that. And in that case, I get why she had to leave. It's one of those things to where you just have to be really careful in your wording and just be mindful of other people and how they might feel about a situation, especially as an educator. If you know she's an educator, it might behoove you just to not mention stuff like that, because she is a person that, as an educator, she just told you she teaches elementary, so most likely she interacts with children that may be placed as special ed, and she sees them in a different light than you will, because she interacts with them on a way more consistent basis than you do. So while you're making that comment from a place of like an outside looking in and it's just a joke to you, to her it's not necessarily a joke, right? So I would say that in this particular setting, I would think, to me, it would be good for the men of the panel, really the whole panel, but especially the men of the panel, to at least acknowledge that that particular line and that particular instance of what was said was a little bit out of line, and not necessarily apologize to Kay, but apologize to the special ed students that he just basically looked down upon and frowned upon and stuff like that. Like I said, it's definitely a touchy subject and stuff like that. But it's one of them things to where it just seems like you're punching down. It just seems like you made the comment from a place of lacking any type of understanding or empathy or anything like that. Like it's just one of the things that just comes out of left field. It's like, why would you say that? What's the purpose of saying that? You understand what I mean? Like, so I get why Kay is upset about that. So yeah. Well, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this video right here. If I see anything else that comes up in this video that I watch, I will come back on. Make sure you guys follow the Lapeef Network show, follow the Lapeef Network Facebook group, because I do be having some very good, interesting conversations and everything like that. Also, happy tax refund season. So everybody out there that's getting the tax refunds like that back, congratulations. Try to spend the money as wisely as possible if you can. Make sure you get caught up on the bills, but then if you also have the opportunity to invest the money and you can spare investing that money, try investing that money and stuff like that, so you hopefully can get out of the situation to where you are dependent on the taxes and everything like that. But other than that, I want to thank you guys for watching. This is the Authentic Man, aka God's King. Make sure y'all go and follow all of my stuff on the different social media platforms. I'm pretty much on everything, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, whatever. Other than that, thank you guys for watching, and you guys have a very blessed rest of your day. Adios.